Okay, we are live. All right, so welcome everybody. Welcome to the Truth Tribe. I am in Washington actually right now. So first things first, before I start anything here, I'm Dawn Thompson and welcome to the Truth Tribe. I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you to all my newbies and all of you who are just showing up for the first time. And thank you guys who have been with me for years. So first things first, I am in Washington as we speak, and in my other location. And I don't always have the best internet here. So if I were to drop you, those of you on Zoom, this is why you get dibs. You guys just stay on your Zoom call. I will log back in and it'll pop right back on and I'll be right back. Okay, so do not hang up. Don't let go. Those of you on Facebook, it will end for you and it won't restart. So that'll be where we end. That's where we part ways. Okay, so just want to let you guys know, those of you who are on the Zoom, it won't drop you completely. FYI, just so you guys know, okay? So again, as we start each call, remember that I love you very much and that you are all perfect. You are all perfect because we talk about so many things on these calls that sometimes we question ourselves and we question our value and we question who we are and what we're doing and where we're going in life. And I want you to know you're perfect exactly as you are right now in this now space, okay? So most important, I want to start with the message that I get in my meditation for my guides. I've had some cool meditations and kind of opening up of myself in the last week as I've been spending a lot of time in nature. And so the most recent message that I got, and then at the end, I will clarify all this, and at the end, we'll clarify with a little bit of planetary update, things that are happening and kind of how they're going to impact us this week. Cool. All right. So the message I got from my guides was discomfort is diamonds. And I thought, what does this mean? Right. And so the way this played out was in my meditation, you see things as symbols and you see things as very visual in symbolic manner. And there was a mountain. Okay. And I don't know if it was just because I was doing a lot of mountain energy in the last week, but there was this mountain. And instead of a snow top on the top of the mountain, it was diamonds. And so to get to the glitter, I had to climb that mountain, metaphorically, right, in my mind. And it looked daunting. It looked difficult. It looked like a lot of work. But then I could see, as I looked at the mountain, I couldn't think about like in that moment of what it was going to take, right? And I could see that it didn't require me to hurry. I wasn't in a speed, trial or anything that was going to be difficult, other than it might be a little uncomfortable to climb, but not impossible. That's kind of the visual I was getting. Like, it's not like you can't get there to the diamonds. It was just looked uncomfortable because it was very kind of a grand mountain. Yet most of us see difficulty and we predict the pain associated with it as suffering instead of small doses of discomfort, which typically is what life is, right? And so, as you all know, I was on vacation this week and it kind of was symbolic with what I was experiencing personally. And many of you may have been this week as well throughout the weekend and things that you were visually seeing. But Tony and I went mountain biking in Victor, Idaho. I don't know if anyone's been there, but I loved it. I actually fell in love with Idaho. I went whitewater rafting, and then we went back on our bikes. And so I'm not going to lie, this was my first technical, tough trail that I had been on in years. And why in years? Just because I had fallen and messed up my hip many years ago and kind of created this whole fear of like climbing mountains again due to the rocks in the way, which is what I fell on. I fell on my hip on the rock and it was not pretty. So this trail was so beautiful. We worked our way up there. We took our bikes. We had a couple of trail rides that were easy, but I knew I kind of just needed to get through this like whole self-discipline, like self-talk, right? And for the beginning part of this ride up the mountain, and I'm going to tell you, it took me about 30 minutes, right, for me to get my sea legs back and then remind myself that the discomfort was only temporary. And once I removed the mental boulders, let's be very clear here, this was a mental thing. I was literally at the top of the most gorgeous mountain having the blast, amazing time. And the diamonds were definitely awaiting me. Why? Because the best part was at the top. And the best part was me trying to get through the mindset as opposed to what the technicality was. It wasn't a tough trail, right? And so what I'm trying to get you guys to open your mind is discomfort is desirable compared to the alternative, right? And so what is the alternative? Discomfort is pressure that results in diamonds, right? And so suffering is repeating pain that you dislike with no desired outcome. I knew what the outcome would be. I just had to get through these momentary lapses of discomfort. And not being aware when you're choosing suffering, we don't consciously know we're choosing suffering. We don't consciously know it's something we choose, but we choose it and we repeat it. And not, we avoid making a different choice. And we go, I don't know why I'm here again, because we didn't make a different choice, right? So is life going to push your buttons at times? Yes. Did it push mine when I'm standing there going, no? I even fell 2 times. I didn't fall, but I like kind of hopped off the bike because I was getting myself all in a tizzy, right? So is life going to push you at times? Yes. Life is going to push you. Does it need to be chronic? No. That's what free will is. Does not need to be over and over and over again. Could I keep avoiding the mountain? Yes, but I didn't. Okay. And so if you determine, you get the choice, right? You get to determine if you want to be man-made stone, rhinestones, right? Or a diamond, right? Man-made or diamond, like from the earth, right? And diamonds require pressure to become the most brilliant. It's the best way I can describe what this meditation I was getting from my guides that were saying, Dawn, you all are there. It's a little discomfort. You're all going through a little discomfort, right? And so man-made crystals, beautiful as they may be, they just have less value and time invested in them. And so what's interesting is what made me approach this last 20 years and even more so the last 2 years, right, differently. And a lot of people keep looking at life in the same perspective. I'm trying to wake you all up on an ongoing basis of these calls to my eyes, right, to my mindset. And what I kept thinking, what was different about it is I refuse to be a victim, right? And just survive and just get by and let everybody tell me, that's just the way it is. I refused to fall into the wizards, shall we call them, the TV wizards, the digital wizards, choosing for me what they deem I'm worth. Okay. I refused not to do it all. I refused to live in a chronic state of another person's can't. You can't do that, Dawn. Chronic pain, you guys, is associated with your level of acceptance of can't. So how well do you accept can't is where you start understanding where chronic pain comes from. So I want you to listen to how often you guys say can't. Really think about that. How often do you say, I can't do that? You can't do that. Says who? I brought this up to you guys a lot, right? Says who? Why do we have to look at boulders in the world, in life, right? Why do we have to look at boulders or internal darkness? People keep asking, why do we have to do that if we're trying to get to a better place? It's a good question, right? I agree, because this whole artsy fartsy happy, let's just be positive and do motivation. Oh, isn't it going to feel good? And you guys are realizing it doesn't work all the time. Why? Because you can't have one without the other. So if you want diamonds, you must see the boulders in your path that are blocking you, period. Okay. So it's no different than seeing a dark person and dark energies of people, multiple people, many people, one or many, saying, and you kind of look at them and you have to say to yourself, okay, that's not for me. That's it. That's where I'm trying to get you guys to go. That's not for me. No, I don't want you guys to think, oh, that's bad. That's wrong. That's ugly. Although it may be, right? It may be heavy and dark. It's just not for you. And if you refuse to see it, you cannot know if it is or is not for you. And that's where this whole looking at the darkness and looking at your darkness within, I call them boulders, I call them hotspots, I call them challenges, your downfalls, All those things that you're afraid to look at doesn't make them bad. You don't even tell anybody about them. I'm just asking you to look. Okay. And so tonight I want to wake you guys up to it's time to clear the self-punishment and the self-restriction of karmic loops. Now I've taught you guys these, right? Karmic loops of energy, which is karma is karma, what you haven't completed in this lifetime. You came here with a soul blueprint, right? And you're likely playing these loops subconsciously. So you don't know you're looking for self-punishment or restricting yourself to the can't people. It's just happening, right? And many of this karmic loops of energy have been repeating for thousands of years, thousands of lifetimes, thousands of experiences that you subconsciously don't even know you're repeating, right? And then you choose this entry point for birth to give you opportunities to break the pattern or a belief system that you've been repeatedly playing, right? So being born at this time on earth, you guys, is your soul choosing to end these karmic cycles. What are they? What is the self-punishment and self-restriction for you? I don't know that, which is why I'm asking you to look within to your dark, heavy spots. I'm asking you to look within to go, I don't really like that part. That's great. Go look at it and see what you can do as an opportunity, right? You came here to learn how to manipulate energy. And even more important, the frequency of the energy. We've talked about consciousness and frequencies, right? And the resonance of that. And once you've disciplined in paying attention to mastering that energy and that frequency, mastering your frequency and bouncing that frequency off or preventing the lower frequencies from draining you, you become powerful at manifesting. So powerful at manifesting the life you desire, not the one you detest, not the one that's suffering, not the one that's chronically suffering. You have more power than that. You guys, you have more power than this. So how do you do it? Okay, so here I wanted to give you 2 simple tips tonight. And then I'm going to open this up to Q&A, and I'm going to blast it open to any topic on the planet, any topic on the energy scale that you guys want to ask at the end. I'm opening up full topics. Okay. So how do you pay attention to your frequency? Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on out here. Somebody's pounding. So how do you do it? How do you change your frequency? I want you to find the frequency for freedom. That's what's really important right now, is find the frequency that gives you freedom. So if you want to feel free to speak, to move, to act, or to experience in a certain way, you want to feel free to go do that thing, okay? You must match that frequency or remove yourself from frequencies that don't match your desired outcome. It's that simple. You either match it or you remove yourself from it. And everyone keeps asking, like, what do I do? Do I like it? Do I not? Okay, so we have to start opening our minds to a lot of this. Is like, this seems kind of selfish. Yes, I'm asking you again to be selfish, okay? So there's 2 ways to be free to be you. First, I want you to list the boulders in your life, okay? Where do you guys keep falling down? Own your downside. Own it, right? Own your downside. Tonight, I want you to make a list and find all the hot spots, as I call them, where it gets so hot, it starts turning into a burning inferno in your life, and it kind of burns down your building, your world, your experiences, whatever. So I want you to make a list and find your hot spots that are blocking in your life, and then own it, right? Because once you own these hot spots where you fall apart sometimes, you're not that good at sharing your emotions, you're not that good at certain maybe athletic skills, you're not that good at your health, you're not that good at relationships, you're not that good at parenting, you're not that good at something. It's your downfall. And you keep repeating some sort of behavior, right? Once you own it and you can see it, no one then can call you out on it, because you know it and you can go, I don't know, I got to work on that. At least you're focused on it. You see it so the light can come in. Okay. So you actually have more power than ever at that spot. Does it mean you're negative or wrong or doing it? No, it just means you see it so you have more power and control over it. Okay. So number 1, list your hot spots and or boulders, I call it. Okay. What are they for you? Number 2, find the frequency. What is the frequency that you actually want and don't want? So what frequency do you actually want? Love or fear? Remember the consciousness scale. We've gone over this several times. Higher level above 200 of any of those concepts are love. Okay. Loving energies, loving frequencies. They attract, they build, and they are powerful. And you keep becoming upset that you keep getting stung, you guys. It's not the bee's fault, right? The bee has a different frequency than you, and you two are not in sync. Okay. And so do people. So if you keep trying to sell your family and your friends and close relationships on how wonderful your space in life is or your frequency is, and they bite you back by destroying your peace through actions and through words and through maybe the silent treatment, right? They may sting you. So you have a choice to say, is this the frequency that gives me freedom, or is it restricting? It's that simple. Is this uncomfortable? Does this give me discomfort? Or is this suffering? And I keep going back and asking this, it's too bad. You don't have to suffer. Is this a temporary discomfort or a subconscious attraction to suffering? Because that's what you've known for so long. Okay. So then you can decide, I'm going to choose to exit or keep the frequency I desire. All right. So it's not like, do I like this person? And I'm talking about anyone in your world right now, whether it's on a digital screen, whether it's the social digital wizards, or whether it's someone sitting right in front of you and it's your spouse. It's not, do I like them or their beliefs or their behavior? I'm not asking you about that. It's what frequency do they live at? Okay. It will require discipline and discernment. You guys, you have all been through so many of these calls with me. You are all ready, and it is time to level up. Raising your bar, raising your frequency. Discomfort is a temporary frequency mismatch, right? Like, I knew I wanted to be on that mountain because of the negative ions and the air and the trees. And it was so gorgeous. And my frequency was just at a vibration. I was thinking, fear, 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 fear. I'm going to fall. And then I had to get in sync with the mountain. And when I did, and I changed that mindset, I was like glue with the mountain and I didn't fall. Right. And so my point is, suffering is also a frequency of acceptance that is out of alignment, okay, with the frequency that you want, but then you continue to experience it anyway. That's when you feel powerless. Connecting with the one you want, or connecting with the one you don't want and taking your power away. So when you're when you are the resistance to someone, or someone offers you, so you could be the opposite end. You could be the one that's not in high frequency. Let's just say that, okay? And let's just say that you are the resistance, and someone offers you a high frequency. On you to own that. I don't want to be in that frequency. So loving people, and you're out of alignment with, they're not, you either got to learn how to separate yourself and I'm just not interested in that right now. Does that make sense? That if you're in a low vibration, someone's like, come on up here, come do this, and you can't do that, it's all about choice. If that's not your desired outcome, to feel good at that moment, and you have to feel heavy or depressed or sad or angry or irritated or just downright pissed off about something, own that. And don't feel like you have to get up there right away, because you will, just by sitting there and looking at the dark. Emotional heaviness I'm talking about within you, okay? So this whole game that we're in, this whole show that you're all experiencing, this whole optical illusion, it's all about choice, all right? And your free will to choose the frequency you desire and avoid all obstacles blocking you from it. Taking a detour, overriding the system, changing your own frequency to match up. What can you do? You've got to ask yourself, what did your soul contract when you came in to grow? Because remember, I explained to all of you, your astrology charts, your personal charts, your personality charts, all of them tell you where your weak spots are. That's it. I don't care if you did DISC or Myers-Briggs or Enneagram or astrology, your astrology layout. I don't care if it's your natal chart. I don't care what the part of the personality is. You have to look and go, I'm really amazing over here, and this is my downfall. This is my downfall list. Work on it. Accept temporary discomfort to do something that's not comfortable, as opposed to accepting long-term effects of chronic pain because you don't want to do it. Okay, so climb that mountain, you guys. I don't care if you need to climb it. I don't care if you need to rappel down it. Learn new climbing techniques to improve your skill on whatever this downfall or downhill difficulties of blockages are in your life. But avoiding the discipline needed to grow is you choosing a lesser frequency than you desire to have. It's that basic. You're choosing that. You're choosing how to live. And so when we stop focusing on what we need in a higher realm, it's as basic as looking at a mountain going, that's beautiful, I want to be there, but my mind is telling me to be afraid, be afraid. You have a choice to go, I know I can do that. I know that's where I belong. I'm going to choose to train my brain or experience it or reprogram my brain right now immediately. That's how fast it took. Now, did it take a little bit longer because I had to climb a mountain? Yes. But I was still on a mission to do highest good to get to the diamonds. That's where I'm trying to get all of you. Okay. So let's talk about the planetary update because it's very matching this week with what is happening to all of you. And the reason I brought up frequency last week and I'm bringing it up again this week is because if we don't look at the things externally, there's a lot of dark things in the external world right now. A lot of dark things. And we go, oh, I don't want to talk about it. Oh, don't tell me about that. Oh, you know what you're talking about. Oh, you're making that up. Oh, the TV wizards, they're telling us all this stuff, or the digital wizards or whatever it is. And you don't want to look and see. It will still bring itself back around to show to you within you. We don't have a choice but to start nurturing ourselves, because the more you grow and the more lighthouses we have of lit up frequency and lit up light, and we're all strong lighthouses, so the boats have to come in and look for our high frequency. They use our light to get home. Until you guys start realizing that only happens by self-nurturing, self-respect, self-caring, not self-restricting, not self-torture, not chronic self-hurt. This is stuff that we can get out of quickly, but we have to fill in the bucket, fill in the light. Okay. So why I'm saying that is because July 9th is Friday. Happy 4th of July, by the way. I hope you guys had a great 4th, and the topic is freedom. And so I'm trying to give you guys the freedom to choose. It's all choice. Okay. And the new moon falls on Friday. Okay. And this new moon on Friday is, if you know your chart, is at 16 degrees of Cancer. Okay, so wherever on your birth chart 16 degrees of Cancer sits, just go find it. That's where the new moon starts. A new moon is when the sun and the moon both meet and they're at the same degree in the sky. Okay, so here's everything's coming around, and then the moon and the sun are in the same place. And it's when the new moon is all about initiation, new beginnings, right? And so Cancer is the sign of mother, nurturing, home, security, love, feeling. It's a water sign. So water signs are very sensitive and emotional. So we tend to become highly emotional on the inside, because Cancer is the sign of the crab, right? And then we become harder on the external surface to other people. So a new moon is always an opportunity to wipe the slate clean and start something new. And it doesn't matter where you've been, how much you've forgotten to or not forgotten to. It doesn't even matter if you do my little burning ritual, which I encourage all of you to take a piece of paper, write it down and say, this is what I want to end. I want to wipe the slate clean because I want to start fresh. New moons are all of new beginnings. Activated time when a new moon comes, it encourages us to focus our attention on like a motherly healing, right? So gentle healing. And then you add to it, Chiron is also in the mix right now. And healing, Chiron is all about healing. It's the wounded healer. All right. And so healing is not about like, I have to be perfect. I have to clean everything and clean up my house and clean up my internal house and like be so perfect. That's not what I'm talking about with the healing. It's about learning the wisdom from our wounds, right? So the hot spots and our emotional pain and all of the things that we've dealt with, or the things outside that scare the crap out of you, and go, they don't have to scare the crap out of you because they're just telling you what you can't do. Dawn told me what I can do, and I can wipe the slate clean, and I can start now and say, I can do anything I want. I can fill my hole and my bucket and my wounds all with love. Okay. And so using the wisdom that you learn from all these hot spots and boulders in your way along the way, and using it to redirect the course of your life. That's it. So if there's a boulder in this intersection right here, there's a boulder sitting there, take a detour, but keep moving to where you want to go. That's what the energy of the Cancer new moon is. It's encouraging deep, unwavering, unconditional self-love. Okay, so none of this self-restriction crap. It's actually empowering you to fill in self-love. And some people around you might not like it. It doesn't mean they won't like it forever. They just might not like it in the moment. Don't worry, they'll come back around. But it is time for you guys to truly start nourishing yourselves from the inside out. Okay, so essentially accepting only high frequencies in your space that encourage healing. All right. And this requires disciplined self-love. You have to be centered on that. You have to ask yourself, does this work for me or not? Do I like this frequency or not? You don't know until you look at the dark things you don't like. And it doesn't mean they're wrong. Remember that. Okay. So tonight's tips. Discomfort is temporary. Suffering is chronic. That's the difference. Okay. Okay, I'm going to answer these questions coming in just a minute. All right, so discomfort is temporary, suffering is chronic. All right, number 2 tip, list your downfalls or your hot spots, as I call them, hotspot blocks, okay? And see them when they stop you from growing where you need it. Remember, you have a soul contract that came in to learn that. Okay, that's your class. That's your chemistry class. That's what's difficult for you, okay? Number 3, find the frequency of every. Okay, I'm going to get more of this. This is something I don't like it. I'm going to avoid that. Frequency of the mountain told me, like, again, this is just discomfort. This isn't suffering anymore, Dawn. You have to stop suffering and holding back from your mountain biking and your trail riding because it felt so good. That was where I was suffering, because I was forcing pain and fear on myself as opposed to going, this is joy. Okay. Stop accepting low frequencies that drain you. It is your choice to suffer, not theirs. That's just them being them. That's just bees being bees. Okay. Ready right here. Tap your chest, tap your thymus. I am courage. I am love. I am courage. I am love. You have to remind yourself every day. I'm telling you, when I was riding on some of the flat spots, I was even stopping and tapping like, I can do this, right? It's going to take those basic moments. Okay. So here's your challenge question of the night. Do you avoid growth that's disguised as discomfort? It's just a little discomfort. It won't be long lasting. Okay. So I'm going to open up Q&A tonight. What hot spots or blocks do you avoid in fear of what discomfort it might create? So go ahead and start throwing them in the Q&A. I am going to start answering the questions you guys have coming in. Okay, so what if you don't really have anyone hold on, let's see. Anyone higher at this new level than where I'm at? Okay, actually, what if you have to go at it alone? This is actually really, really a fabulous question. Why? Because what happens is when you feel alone and you're on the mountaintop alone, I'm going to prepare you guys. The more ascension work you do, and ascension is raising your vibration up to where you have filled with light. And what I try to explain to people is, if you're a lighthouse and you're a very bright lighthouse in the dark, Just staring at that light is kind of uncomfortable. They don't not want to be where you are. They don't not want to get to where you are. It's uncomfortable. So I'm telling everybody to remind all of you this, that it can get very lonely at the top at times. Not all the time, but at times it can get very lonely up there because you feel like no one is in your court. That's okay. Be a leader anyway. Be brighter anyway. Feel lighter anyway. And the reason I say that is because when you go back down, you start realizing that it is not something you like, but you still have to see it once in a while. And you still have to realize that it's not what you like. So you're more confident and comfortable with being in solitude or simplified or less energy, like impacting you, shall I say, affecting you, stimulating you, overriding you, overwhelming you. That's what will start to happen, is you'll want less of it. Now, wanting less of it doesn't make it right or wrong. It's just you'll have less tolerance for the constant chaos that no longer supports your higher vibe. Does your higher vibe mean good or bad? No. But don't judge those that are at a lower vibe, lower energy frequency, because they're just as important and just as valuable. We cannot put them, well, you're down there and I'm up here. There's no high low. It's just a different vibrational space. And if you put yourself on the continuum, if someone's in a different vibrational space, you have to thank them for reminding you, you don't want that. You want to stay here. Is it higher, lower, better, worse, good, bad? No, it's just different. And being different means you have to be okay with where you're at. I guarantee you, a lot of people in pain down the bottom of the consciousness scale, the lower vibes, the lower frequencies, in pain, guilt, resentment, shame, anger, hatred, I guarantee they're not happy with their frequency either. So it's kind of a matter of going, I'm a little bit in solitude, I'm a little bit independent, I'm a little bit hard to be around when people are in heavy space. I have to be okay with that. And ask the universe, ask your angels, ask your guides if they'll send you people who vibrate in your same space. They'll show up, I promise. They always do. Okay? Okay. Keep throwing the questions out, guys. Those are good questions. Let me see this next one. How do you know the difference between discomfort and suffering? Okay, so discomfort feels good. You're just out of shape, right? You're like, I know I want to be here. I'm just uncomfortable because I have to work. I have to practice a little bit. It's kind of like a sore muscle, even though you know you're exercising, even though it hurts when you're doing it, you know it's going to benefit you. You know the outcome. So discomfort creates an outcome. Suffering is draining, short or long term. You can feel it, that it will never improve. It's never going to make you feel better doing it. Being in that group, being in the setting, being in that environment, being wherever you are, it will never improve your lighthouse. And so that's the difference between the discomfort or the suffering. Okay, suffering is something you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, and here I am again. You have choice to exit. Okay, that's the difference. Okay, let's see what's next. If my family and friends, so this is a big thing you guys are bringing up. Okay, so we're like, what if I don't fit in? This is the theme I'm getting here. So if my family, friends, spouse are doing things I dislike and they give me discomfort, what do I do then? Get busy doing what you love. Invite them to your frequency. They'll either show up at their own choice and they'll be discomfort until they practice and get better and going, oh, this actually isn't that bad. Or they'll avoid it until they're ready to stop suffering. The problem is that you're also loving and wonderful and kind and generous on this call. Okay. And so what I try to teach you guys is that you all want them to stop suffering. You don't want them to feel pain. You don't want them to feel bad. So we want to go and rescue them. What that does is it enables them, guys. So my answer is stop attending the suffering pity parties. All right. Stop attending the suffering pity parties of friends and family. This is the future. I don't care how many of you fight me or like, you can't believe, you don't know, Dawn, you know where we're going. I do. energetically, planetarily, futuristically, I know where we're going. We're going to an amazing, beautiful place. We have been. We've already gotten there. Okay. This is the future. It doesn't matter if it's tomorrow or 2 years from now. It's going to be beneficial to choose this high vibe frequency of energy. Love will beat out fear every time. I guarantee it. So just because they're in a momentary lapse and they have to be in discomfort to be around you, they choose to come do that. But you forcing them is a different matter. You telling them where they're at is not good, is also not good. You fixing it for them so they can get up to you, they won't be able to maintain it because they didn't do it themselves and they didn't choose discomfort. So we have to keep reminding ourselves, when you see people around you that are in some sort of misery, pain, whatever it is, that you're not the one to fix it. You had to fix your own. I had to fix it, getting on that bike and going, you're going to do this because you know what the end diamond looked like. You know what the diamonds are at the top. That was the most beautiful view you could imagine when we got up there. So you know what the outcome is. If you know the outcome is something you don't want, that's what's important. You start paying attention to. That's the frequency I asked you to check in on. Stop attending the suffering pity parties. And then go, well, I can fix it for you. I know you all do this. Those of you on this call, put your hand up if you say, yes, I've done that. I've done that. I try to fix it for them. I try to save them. I try to rescue them from their party. And I try to tell them it doesn't have to be that bad. We all do it. I've done it so many times. I finally realized you've got to let people be where they are. You have to let people be okay in pain. And you have to say, this is what I can do for you. Would you like it or not? Let them choose. And if they say no, then you've got to let them be. This is very, very hard right now because we are in the biggest energetic, this is a frequency shift, guys. Vibrationally, we are all shifting to higher vibrations, which is love. A lot of you don't know what love is. A lot of you only know fear and can't and fear and can't and fear and can't. All the wizards, all the digital wizards, all the TV wizards have told you for so long, as I've told you. When our screens and our faces are so embedded in fear, you're going to have a hard time realizing that there's just a little discomfort when you come over and go, I guess I really don't know what to do, but when I go do it, it's not that hard. I actually feel better. So I know this sometimes is like, well, I kind of know this. We don't know it until you're faced with something and you have to ask yourself, is this discomfort or is this suffering that I can choose? Do I choose the discomfort and I know in 10, 15 minutes or an hour, I'll feel better? Or is this suffering that is something I've repeated so many times that I don't want to do it anymore? Which is it? Because if it's, I don't want to do it anymore, this is you changing that game. This is you changing, making a different choice in that moment of time and saying, I'm not going to do this anymore. I don't like this. Do you like it or not? This darkness or not? Does that make sense? Okay, anybody in the Zoom chat, go ahead and start throwing at me any comments or questions regarding what hotspots do you see yourself avoiding or fearing? Remember, no one can see your questions but me. So I'm just commenting on them. I won't tell them who you are. But the question is what blocks do you question yourself or catching yourself, whether it's in relationships? Do you catch yourself in not saying how you feel? Do you catch yourself saying, I'm afraid if I tell you what I want, you're not going to like it? I catch this a lot in relationships. I do this myself. If I tell you what I want, I know you're not going to want it. So I'm going to feel bad. I'm going to feel guilty for wanting it because it's going to make you unhappy. Who does that benefit? It does not benefit you. It only benefits them. And then they're frustrated with you because you seem irritated and resentful and angry. It doesn't help. Okay, so what is it when you can look at yourself personally and start telling the others or sharing with us, what is it that you start catching yourself? What blocks or hotspots or difficulties or your downfalls do you avoid for fear that it's going to be frustrating and uncomfortable? Anybody? No, you guys are being so quiet tonight. I can see all of you. I know you can't see each other, but I can see all of you. All right. When I try to say my truth. Oh, yeah. This is really a good one on that topic. Why? Because when when you're trying to speak your truth and you know it's someone else, that it's not their truth, it's really uncomfortable. The only way to say it makes me revert back to blowing up. So here's the thing. This is actually a good comment. One of the difficulties that someone finds is difficult for them to speak their truth, right? Um, when you're having a hard time speaking your truth, it's because you're trying to explain your truth to them so they'll be on the same truth with you. You want them to have the same truth. Now, when you can speak your truth with not caring that another human person, experience, a group will care if you have that truth or not, you don't care whether they join your party or not, that's when the truth is easier to speak. There was a long time before I used the planets and astrology and the universe and all the spiritual codes and the universal codes and karmic loops and karmic energy and karmic repetition and past lives. All of this was very woo-woo back 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when I already knew about it. Okay. So to speak that truth, I felt I had to explain it to everybody so that if I were going to share it, they would like it. They would be okay with me being me. When I finally hit the point when I don't care, because explaining it to them was exhausting me. Okay. That's where I want you guys to get. When you can speak your truth with not caring if anyone joins in or not, it'll make it a lot easier. You won't blow up, nor will you care. If they still are pushing back, going, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, this is wrong. You're not in the right place, or you're so dumb. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know anything. Okay. When you can be in that okay moment and go make you're being a badass, salesman, or, making all the money you want to make, or if you're being as spiritual as you want to be, or you're talking to your guides or your angels or God, and you don't want to have to explain to anybody who your angels and God are. When you don't care about explaining it, when it's about writing you want to write a book. Well, what would you write a book about? You've never written a book. You don't know you don't care. You're going to write it anyway. That's when you're in your truth. Okay. When you can live your truth without anyone making a comment, you could care less. That's when you're living truth. Okay. That is when it's more valuable, because then you're really on guard with your truth. Okay. Here's a question. There are the known hotspots that we know of, and then there are the unknowns that we don't know of. How to identify the hotspots we don't know of. Okay, this is actually really good because you do know them. We just don't want to admit them. Okay, so my point is, let's take a look at hotspots more simplified. Boulders. Okay, what things in your life are difficult? Work on that. Once you're good at those difficult things, the next things will show up again. And then the next thing will show up again. Okay, instead of trying to analyze them all and then decide an analyzation of which ones you're going to work on and which one right now is in front of you. Let's just say you need to learn to be more open-minded about dating. That's a big one that comes into my world. Okay. Dating's hard, Dawn. Oh my gosh, this is so overwhelming. Do you know how difficult it is in today's day and age? And I'm just like, you guys, dating is so much easier than actually having to take a handwritten note and wait for 2 weeks before it goes in the mail to get to the other end of the country and hope that they got the letter. Then 2 weeks later, wait for another. Like, we don't give ourselves blessings on all the different things. So let's just say dating. So there's all these opportunities and everything. If that's what's difficult for you, you've got to immerse yourself into all the thought patterns, the action patterns, the decision making that you have to make in order to be more confident in dating. Now, let's just say this person is having a difficult time with their career. Maybe that list of downfalls of what things we know we're not good at in our career and things that we know we're really good at in our career, and saying, if I fix those two things, I could add and highlight this part of my career. So it's finding right now what you want. If it's not career and it's not dating, maybe it's your health. What is it that you need to do to find better ways? And we keep going, I'll make the list, but then I'm going to avoid the list. And my answer is pick one thing, work on that, then add the next thing in. So it's not about known or unknown, but it's a really great question, is how do we identify the unknown hotspots? Work on the ones that you still see repeating, because that means they're chronic. That means we keep allowing ourselves to suffer. So if it's minimal, let's just say dating, or even if you're married. What if you're married and you have a challenging topic that comes up a lot? My husband and I have a topic that we have a challenge with discussing quite a bit, and it comes up a lot, and we both laugh. I'm like, we're here again. He's like, I know. And we both laugh that we're there, but we still go, okay, let's figure another way. If that way doesn't work, we'll figure another way, because we know what the hot spot is, so it doesn't scare us anymore. But we do laugh that we whittle our way back into that hot spot every time. So you're never going to get away from these difficult boulders and hot spots in your life. You're just going to get so masterful at weaving and dodging them that you're in power of your own life. So my answer is, going back to what I discussed earlier in the call, write them down, you guys. Write down what your weak spots are. Right? Write down what it is that you're fearful of, that you have difficulty with. I have told you all that fun is hotspot in my actual zodiac chart, in my own personality. I just forget to go do it. Then I'm like, oh, poor me. I'm suffering again. I didn't get to have any fun. I'm like, whose damn fault was that? Right? That was the old me. Instead of going, no, y'all can wait. I'm going to go have fun. And then I ended up with another discomfort, right, on the mountain, until I was like, no, you have to override it. It's typically temporary when it's something you want and you know the outcome will be great. When you know the outcome is something you keep repeating, that you didn't like it the last time, you didn't like it the last 5 times, that's when you're going to have to work on it a little bit more to say, do I really want that, or I want a version of that I'm going to have to practice. So there is nothing in your life right now that you don't get to have discernment about. You know, and it's as simple as going, does this feel good to me? That's frequency. Does this vibrate in the same space that I'm vibrating at? Frequency. And most of us struggle with that. Why? Why do we struggle with frequency? Because if you can, for lack of better, I'm trying to figure out what's good. Let's see who's here. Okay. For lack of better words, is we take everything from eyesight and audit. Like, we look at something and go, that's what it is. And you know better than that, right? That's not true. So when you start looking at things from feeling, you go, this just doesn't feel right now. This doesn't feel good to be here. You have that moment in time to choose, what am I going to choose? What do I choose to do instead? Not blow up. Not be irritated, not be frustrated because you didn't find that hot spot, but change it. Does that make sense, guys? Did that answer your question regarding the ones that we can't see? It's not so much how I identify the things that we don't know of. I think it's more so that the hot spots you do know of, and you know they're blocks on you. What shows up in your life right now that scares you? And you'll know if it's discomfort or if it's actual suffering, and you keep walking into it. Suffering, just remember, guys, is typically subconscious. You don't know you're doing it. You don't know you're drawn to it. You don't know that the inner child in you is going and looking for that drawn again. The overanalyzer just said, yes, thank you. That was helpful to my overanalysis point. It made me laugh. That's super funny. Okay, so let's see. I got one more here coming in. Yes, I am there. And then, okay, so one of the other comments is, I had to rotate. Let's see. I am there, and then I suddenly get drawn back. I only have 6 deals coming in. See, so there's a point where we have to start asking ourselves these questions: is, am I uncomfortable, or am I suffering? That's really it. I know this seems so basic to you guys, but I know you're not doing it, because I caught myself doing it, not just on the mountain. There was a part of our trip I actually wasn't feeling well. Instead of going, oh my God, I'm on this trip, I'm supposed to be enjoying, suffer through it. I was like, no, you're going to take 4 hours and just close your eyes. For this trip, I was supposed to be having fun. So see how we put ourselves in these positions? This is it. This is where it comes into the brain of manifesting at a higher level and saying, if you fix this discomfort right now, the end result will be what you want. It's beneficial, but we don't fix temporary. We just do a temporary band-aid of avoidance. Avoidance is bullshit. You avoiding any of this dark stuff is not going to work for you. It's not going to work for anyone. But everybody keeps going, Dawn, how beneficial is this to keep looking at the dark and looking inside and looking at the bad? I don't think any of it's bad. I think that's where you guys are misunderstanding when I'm talking about sometimes. It's not bad. The dark is not bad. The dark is where you can fill in light so that you're lighter. You're never going to only be lit up. You're going to be light and dark, yin and yang, high and low, masterful, and then have to come here and get discomfort. Like, wait a minute. This is the balance. Okay. It's super basic, yet it's hard. And let's see. And that's why you just have to get used to 80% no chance, 50% or me, and 5% can do it. So again, we have to quit judging people who can and can't and just go do it. Be one of the lighthouses that's leading the masses to the light. Let them come to you. I promise they will. They will find you. They will look for you, and they will walk into your space. Okay. This is the difference between leading or following, between can and can't. Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to close out this call because I haven't gotten any more questions popping in. Remember, those of you who want to replay or go listen again, if you're looking for any other weeks that you're on these calls, you log into ideserveitnow.com to the website. You can find it on any of my social media channels. It's there too. Open up the tools in the main menu bar and it says member access. Click on the Truth Tribe link and it's all there for all the I Deserve It Center members as well as Truth Tribe. All your links are working now, but you're going to need member access to replay the YouTube playlist. It's on a playlist in YouTube, and if you're a member, you can access it right there. So make sure that you save the website page for easy access. Also subscribe to the bell and hit the bell so you can see when I pop up new ones and you haven't made it. It'll tell you that I put a new one on so you guys can listen for notifications. Remember, your friends are always welcome. Share the link, invite them into the Truth Tribe, and we will keep growing. I am grateful to all of you. Thank you for joining me tonight, and brightest blessings.